guys, welcome to Kapow. Now, if you hadn't already noticed, we are not in Kings, we are at Sydney OzComicCon. Yay! And Al and I have taken the plunge and decided to dress up this year.
Yes, one of us.
It's going to be a huge day. Jill, what are you looking at today?
I am going to check out the cosplay. There's so much amazing talent here, and hopefully we'll catch the competition.
Awesome. Al?
Well, we've got some great interviews as well. We're talking to Greg Rucka, we're talking to Nicholas Scott, we're talking to some amazing local creators. Very exciting.
Yeah, and to wrap it all up, we're going to tell you what we thought was best of the con. So, big day, guys. Let's go.
The Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division, I have to think of a shorter name for that, has a long and storied history. 50 years worth, in fact. And Marvel are celebrating that history with a series of one-shots.
Yes, starting off with a character who's gained acclaim both in the Captain America films and in her own series, Season 2 starting very soon, Agent Peggy Carter. Written by Catherine Eminem with art by Rich Ellis, this one-shot brings Peggy together with another warrior woman of the Marvel Universe, Asgard's Lady Sif.
Now, there are opportunities for humour and action aplenty
Yes.
with these two characters, but does this one-shot get the balance right? Sonia, what did you think?
Okay, well, I must admit I'm suffering withdrawal symptoms, so I was happy to read this, but I am only going to give it a borrow. The story itself is entertaining and it moves along fairly well, but it seems to be lacking something, which is a bit of a shame because I'm a massive fan of Eminem. I think she's a fantastic writer.
Yeah.
So I think I may have been expecting too much from the story. It's still an entertaining one. I giggled a lot through it. The interaction between Peggy and Lady Sif is brilliant.
And with Peggy and Dum Dum
And Peggy and Dum
as well.
Peggy and everyone.
Yeah.
Peggy is excellent. I have to say that Eminem has captured Peggy's voice really, really well.
Yeah.
Her wit, the kind of dryness to her, and the kind of exasperation that she gets with everything that is around her,
Yeah.
that's all present there.
She is a bit world-weary. She's come through a
is.
war.
She's gone through a war. Which does bring me to my next point, which is to do with the art. She has gone through a war. She's in the field. Why is Peggy wearing pearls? I know it's a little thing, but it's a little thing that bugs me.
With her khaki sleeveless.
Yeah, her
thing,
whole
yeah.
costume just seemed a little bit out of place.
And her jaunty beret, which she didn't lose even when she was underwater.
Even when she kept the beret, she kept the pearls, even underwater.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of suspension of disbelief there that I just couldn't get onto it. Look, I still enjoyed. I think the color palette was really well done, and the characterizations they're quite good. They're not my Peggy, I have to say, but I am someone who has been influenced by the TV series
Sure.
and by the film, so that's kind of how I have Peggy in my head. I still enjoyed this version of Peggy, and the voice really did make it in this whole story. That's really what I kind of latched onto. But
Yeah.
overall, I did kind of finish it and go, yeah, it's okay, but I want a Thelma and Louise with Peggy and Lady Sif.
And it
That's
does,
what I want. And it does end that
yeah,
way.
It looks like that's what's about to happen.
I
And you're like,
know.
no, don't make it a one-shot.
Don't make it a one-shot. I want to know what happens next.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did enjoy it, but it is ultimately just a borrow from me. What about you, Al?
Yeah, look, I hate to say it, but I'm going to have to give this one a berry. I did find it overall kind of underwhelming. I think maybe it was limited by the one-shot format.
Yeah.
I think maybe that prevented...
One-shots can be a bit hit and miss. Either they're brilliant or they do kind of go, I want the next bit.
It's hard without sort of leaping into something sort of in media res,
Yeah.
but you've got to introduce two characters to each other
Yeah.
and then have an adventure and then have a conclusion to that adventure all within this one shot, and it just didn't work
Yeah.
for me
Fair enough.
anyway. I will say certainly the voices were absolutely spot on.
Yeah, that was good.
For everyone, for Dum Dum Duggan, for Lady Sif, for Peggy, for Fury, they all sounded exactly like what they should sound like.
Lady Sif's hilarious.
They were absolutely authentic.
Yep.
Lady Sif, that this is my sandwich, you know, had that Asgardian bluntness. Everything was working
Yeah.
as far as the voices went. But beyond that, yeah, the story felt limited by the format.
Sure.
It didn't really work in the conclusion either for me.
Yeah,
The
it was a little
conclusion,
bit-
not to ruin anything, but it felt a bit Shyamalan. And I felt a bit shortchanged by it.
Fair play.
As far as the artwork went, Ellis wasn't really working for me in this one.
Sure.
I could see that there was a sort of a referencing to the history of these Marvel stories,
Yep.
to a certain era of comic art, but it felt like more of a throwback than an homage.
Right, yep.
You know, it felt like it was doing a lot of the things that we've moved past, and for a reason. You know, the backgrounds were quite bland.
Yep.
There were moments when they were relying on movement lines
Yep.
to indicate what was happening rather than actually how the characters are moving.
Yep.
And that just all limited it for me.
Yeah, sure.
Again, yeah, I think maybe because it's imminent, I expected she's done, a lot of great
beautiful work, yeah.
Even with Peggy Carter fairly recently with Sin. Yeah. But yeah, this didn't rise to the occasion for me. It felt like a bit of a lackluster story in the end. But as you say, if somebody's really jonesing for a bit of Peggy, then this could tide you over until season 2 comes back.
Okay guys, I am here at Sydney OzComicCon with Ryan K Lindsay. Ryan, thanks for joining us to have a chat on Kapow.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Now, some of you may recognise this particular book, Negative Space, because we did actually review issue number 1, but issue number 2 is now out.
Yes. Yeah, it just came out this Wednesday, so we're halfway through the miniseries, which is really cool. And the first issue is very much about investing you in the character of Guy, because if we're going to ruin him and his world, you have to care. So I really spent time making people love him, and now people are going to hate me with what I'm doing now.
I really like, don't ruin his world.
Yeah, well, it was never going to be a happy story, unfortunately.
That's very true. Have you had good response at OzComicCon for Negative Space?
Yeah, it's the top seller today. Yeah, sales have been really strong this morning.
Awesome. So there is another book sitting on this table here, Headspace. So can you tell us a little bit about that one?
Headspace is a collected volume of a book I did with Monkey Brain in the States, and IDW collected as a trade. So it's about a sheriff of a small town, Carpenter Cove, who comes to realize he's inside the mind of a killer. He doesn't know how he got in there or why, but he has to figure out how to survive because the killer's mind is trying to wipe it out with the manifestations of weird thoughts and memories and just general dreck that sits in a killer's mind. So we have like a cyclopean ogre and a boat made out of dead bodies and a gigantic alligator. But it's a story about fatherhood and responsibility. Well,
yeah, ogres and things. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, totally. Are you working on anything other than Negative Space and Headspace? Wow, there's lots of space in your titles.
I'm a spacey guy, yeah. I'm working on my next book, which is yet to be announced, but it doesn't have space in the title, so that's nice. I actually just got some cover art in this morning on my phone, which is gorgeous. But it will be announced hopefully at New York Comic Con through our publisher in the States.
That's really exciting. So obviously with these ones, do you have any styles or any artists or writers that you kind of look to for inspiration?
Absolutely. For writing, Ed Brubaker is a guy that I just love his stuff. And
me too.
I don't quite write similar stuff to him. I don't write as much straight crime fiction as he does, but just that idea of, and he talks about it a lot, having the images tell one story and obviously dialogue matches it, but then using the captions to overlay, so it's a little more novelistic, but not in an intrusional manner. I mean, he works with Sean Phillips, you don't want to intrude on that art. No. And with all of my artists, I certainly want to get out of their way. So I use his books as a lot of inspiration. I find he most thematically sort of balances where I would one day love to be.
Yeah, right. That's really awesome. So if people are not at Sydney OzComicCon or would like to purchase these lovely books, because you really should, further down the track, where can they get hold of them?
Basically anywhere that you can then add Ryan K Lindsay, they'll find me. So Twitter at Ryan K Lindsay, RyanKLindsay.com, Facebook /Ryan K Lindsay. I have a newsletter that I send out with just chatting about how to break in and how to keep your sanity, all that sort of stuff at tinyletter.com /Ryan K Lindsay. But if they do find me at the show, they get awesome lunch bag sketches from a writer. And I know everybody wants that.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy OzComicCon to have a chat with us at Kapow.
No, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
So one of the great things about conventions is the cosplay. And at OzComicCon, there's some amazing talent here. So let's go find the best. So I found an amazing gender met Jack and Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas. Tell me, how did you make your costumes?
I ended up sewing it all. Yeah, just using templates and picking out fabrics together.
Fantastic. And how long do you think that it took you to make?
Probably over a couple of months. Yeah.
About 6 months roughly, but rushing towards maybe 2 weeks with the finer details.
I'm here with Wiru. As you might know, he's an absolutely international renowned cosplayer now from Australia. Hi, Will.
Hello, how are you guys?
So, Will, tell us about where you just came back from.
I've just come back from an event called Japan Weekend in Madrid, Spain.
And how was that?
It was amazing. Their con scene is actually surprisingly similar to ours. The Japan Weekend week was very similar to our Supernova and our OzComicCon as well. So I felt really at home. And the only difference is their crowd is a little bit more intense.
Oh, okay, that sounds cool. Harley Quinn and Joker's daughter. Don't they look amazing? Guys, can you tell me a bit about your costumes?
Yeah, well, we decided to swap over the sex. It's always fun to play a bad guy and swap the gender, so we get the attention.
You got some funky makeup going on. How long did that take to put on this morning?
Well, mine was about a solid hour and a half. His was about 20 minutes.
Pushing it, 20 minutes, just slap it on, a little bit of body paint, a little bit of tattooing and set.
But this is actually the second time we've done these ones, so we're getting better at them each time.
Good, good. I'm here with Major Sam Cosplay. She's a finalist in the National Championships of Cosplay here at OzComicCon and will be competing tomorrow for the finals. Hi.
How you going? Good, thanks.
Now tell us about your costume that you're wearing today.
Today I'm wearing Miss Kitty from Basil the Great Mouse Detective. It's pretty obscure, but I think it's really fun.
No, it's really cute. So how long did you actually spend on your costume for the finals?
I didn't count the hours because that's a bit scary, but I think it was between 300 to 400 hours.
Wow, okay, so there's some dedication there. And did you enjoy the process?
I did actually. I enjoy competing because it pushes me to my limits and it gives me something to work on. And yeah, I had so much fun doing it.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations, and I can't wait to see you on stage tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, well, we're here with the amazing Greg Rucka.
I'm amazing.
Not to build it up too much.
No, start again, sir.
So, I'll try to keep from gushing too much. But, look, you're here at Sydney OzComicCon.
I am.
And obviously it's early days, but are you liking it so far?
Oh, yeah. This is always part of the job that I enjoy anyway, because so much of writing is done all alone in a room with imaginary people shouting at you, so getting to be out and about and meeting fans.
Well, a lot of people know your work from DC.
Yeah.
You're one of the co-creators of Gotham Central. Obviously, I'm a fan.
Oh, that's what the costume is.
So, I mean, that's sort of where a lot of people would know your work from, but you've moved a lot into more creator-owned stuff more recently with Image.
Yeah, I've done creator-owned stuff, actually. That was how I started in the industry. My first work was Whiteout through Oni Press, and I've continued to do creator-owned stuff with Oni Press for getting close to 20 years. I mean, I do a private eye series called Stumptown with them.
Yep.
I do Lazarus through Image right now with Michael Lark, who I worked with on Gotham Central, and which has been really rewarding, very successful. And Nicola Scott, who is off camera to my left here.
Yes.
And I have a project that'll be debuting at the end of October called Black Magic, and that's also from Image. So, I did a lot of work for hire, as we refer to it in the industry.
Yeah.
And it's fun, it is a privilege to be able to write Batman, to write Wonder Woman, to write Spider-Man. But at the end of the day, those are all characters governed and owned by enormous corporate interests.
Yeah.
And those enormous corporate interests really have very little interest in whether or not the stories say good, as much as did it come out on time and are we making money or losing it.
Right.
And that's not actually meant to be as biting a criticism as it sounds. It's the nature, it's the eternal conflict between art and commerce,
Sure. Yeah.
But it is very liberating to be able to do creator-owned work because, if the book fails, if Black Magic is not what we want it to be, it will ultimately be because Nicola and I made that decision, So.
Yeah. Well, you've got a lot of stuff that has some amazing visuals, like Veil is a personal favourite of mine, with some great visuals. Is there anything in particular artists that you really love working with the most in the past?
Working with J.H. Williams on the Batwoman work we did that ran in Detective Comics, he's a remarkable talent. I mean, he is an outstanding talent, and I would leap at an opportunity to work with him again.
Yeah. You've also got Shattered Empire, which is out at the moment.
It covers roughly the first 3 months after the Battle of Endor.
Yep.
And we meet a Rebel Alliance pilot named Shara Bay. We go from the elation of, woohoo, we did it, to why is the Empire not surrendering?
Yeah, there's still some guys out there.
Yeah, don't they know they lost?
They didn't get the memo. Yeah.
You know, I've done that. I've written a book called A Smuggler's Run, which was a young adult Han Solo and Chewbacca story set after the original movie, after A New Hope.
Yeah.
And they just announced this morning here in Australia, the news went live at 8, that I'm doing another one called Before the Awakening.
Ah, fantastic.
Which will be out the day The Force Awakens opens.
There we go.
And is 3, I don't want to call them short stories because they're rather long, but it's a collected novella, and there's a Finn, Rey, and a Poe story.
Okay.
And they've just announced that. I genuinely take it as a very sincere responsibility.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the guy who screwed that up.
No, well look, having seen some of Shattered Empire so far, I think it's in safe hands. It's an exciting time. You've got some great stuff coming out. Black Magic, Shattered Empire, so much great stuff to see. Greg, thank you for having a chat with us.
Support Australian artists. Buy Black Magic.
Absolutely. Get on it as soon as you can.
Girl. She's a local girl. She does you guys proud.
Yes, she does.
All right.
Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you for coming. Thanks for interviewing me.
When something breaks, our first instinct in this consumerist world is to throw it away. But if the thing that breaks is your heart, would you still throw that away?
Well, that's a question that's tackled in a new graphic novel from Dark Horse. Heart in a Box, written by Kelly Thompson with art by Meredith McLaren, tells the story of Emma, a girl who, in a moment of post-breakup misery, wishes her heart away.
But as Joni Mitchell has told us, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. So Emma immediately embarks on a journey to reclaim the pieces of her broken heart and become whole again. Al, what did you think of this one?
I am a huge fan of this book. It's definitely a buy from me.
Yep.
No conversation about it. It's really, really good. I mean, it kind of fakes you out, which I always enjoy.
Always good.
It feels like it's going to be quite an action-driven story to start with, but it tricks you with that and moves into what becomes, I'm going to try to avoid puns here, but it is quite a heartfelt story.
It's heartbreaking.
It gets, okay, that's the 2 we're allowed.
Yeah,
heartfelt,
no more.
heartbreaking, we'll move on. But it gets to the end, you will be wiping away a tear at least a couple of points in this book. It takes you on a journey, and it actually becomes kind of a metaphor for the concept of putting yourself back together after a horrible thing happens to you, whether that's a breakup or a bereavement or whatever.
Whatever it is.
This is just a person finding herself after something terrible's happened. And it manages to tell that story in such a fresh and engaging way that you just can't fault it. I mean, there's also, and I won't get too much into the art because I know that that's your thing, but it really matches so beautifully with the script. I mean, I believe it's the first collaboration with these two, and they counterpoint each other so well.
They do.
You know, it really, how it all works, how it all fits together, like the pieces of a broken heart.
Like the pieces, yes.
I know I said that was
3 now.
That's 3. Okay, you're not allowed any.
Oh.
But I really loved it. I read it again as soon as I finished, and it's definitely one that I think everybody should keep an eye out for.
Yeah. Look, I totally agree. It's a buy from me as well. Look, I'm going to launch straight into it. The art, McLaren has done a beautiful job here.
Oh, yeah.
It's stylized, but still realistic in a way that I've not come across this kind of style before.
Sure. And there's elements of something vaguely sort of Invader Zim-ish.
A little bit, yeah, but not
which was
quite,
interesting.
because Invader Zim is obviously
way more stylized.
Yeah. But I really love the pieces that I loved the most were the one-page splash pages when she actually regains a piece of heart, and you get to see all the things that bit of heart actually held for Emma.
Those panels, they're just like a visual patchwork. It tells you so much about her.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's not a lot of characterization of Emma because it relies on. You kind of go on the journey with her, and you get to regain who Emma is and what she loves and what she hates, and it's so beautiful to kind of go on this really lovely journey. Now, this is also quite a funny story.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of humor to it.
It's not this melancholy kind of, oh, my heart is broken. It's actually a very funny little story where, you know, it is that kind of quirky thing that if you have your heart broken, you wish it could go away.
Yeah.
You know it's going to get better, but at that precise moment, God,
you just want it over.
I want it gone.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to kind of see that progression and see the humour come through Emma as she gets more of her heart back. And, you know, there's a Venture Brothers reference in
There
there,
is
which is
Adventure Brothers.
excellent.
That spoke to me, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's so much economy to how this story is told.
It's a very good, yeah, it is. It's a very economic story.
Yeah.
The art is stunning.
Yep.
That's not economic at all. And I have to say again, McLaren, you've done such a beautiful job on this one.
Oh, yeah.
I really love this. You should definitely check this out. If for nothing else, in the author's note, keep the writer in pajamas, keep the artist in lunch. Check out Heart in a Box. We're here at Sydney OzComicCon. I have found the fabulous Nicola Scott, who is happily having a chat with us. Thanks for joining us, Nicola.
Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody.
So you're here, you've got your lovely booth set up. What are we working on at the moment that you want everybody to know about?
Only one thing, Black Magic. Yes. It's coming out at the end of October. We're putting together all the back matter for the first issue right now. The amount of work that everybody is putting into it, we've got Eric Troutman as our graphic designer, Janine Schaefer as our editor. All the stuff that's coming together is just so beautiful and so much world building. So exciting.
I can tell Nicola is very excited about this. Yeah. This has actually been taken a long time to actually get to this stage, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been gestating for a number of years. Greg and I have been talking about it directly for at least a year and a half, and I've been working on it all this year. So we've got a number of issues in the can already, and like all Greg Rucka stories, it's a slow burn. But eventually when that little twist happens, it's that much more loaded because everything's at stake, yeah. And I'm painting the whole thing, it's all in grayscale.
Oh, wow.
And it's a slower process, but the end results I'm really happy with. Being a creator and project, instead of being work for hire, I care more. And so I'm doing a lot more in the way of research. I'm finding myself falling down the same kind of well that Greg falls down all the time. Whenever we're sort of problem solving, you know, this is the spell that we need to create. We need word research, we need visual research, we need the practical research of how to go about it, blah, 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 blah. Keep in mind that it's still a fiction and this, that, and the other, and we will all disappear down research holes. And then eventually it comes about because I get to paint it. I get to draw all of this great witchy stuff, which is so exciting.
Is it quite a, like when you've been doing all the research and you've got it all written down, when you actually start seeing the pages come to life, is that quite a thrill still?
Yeah, it's because it's a slower process. I'm only producing 5 pages like every couple of weeks. It doesn't feel like the pages are coming together until I'm about 90% done. Yep. And then all of a sudden, it feels like, oh my God, I think that might be finished. And so when I get to a point where I think it's finished, I'll put it aside for a week and then come back to it. That's another nice thing about working on Creator-Owned, where we've given ourselves some really decent buffer time, is I'm getting to sort of sit the art away from me for a little while and then come back to it in a couple of weeks, look at it again with a fresh eye, and maybe tweak a little bit here and there, add a little bit more here and there. And then I'll scan it, clean it up in Photoshop and send it off. So I'm getting to be really anal about how the finished product looks. Yep. And I can't tell you how happy with how happy we all are with the finished product so far.
That's amazing. Black Magic is one that I've been, as soon as I heard about it, I was like, yes, I need to own this. So I'm really glad that it's coming up really soon.
I know. The sooner the better, because I want to be able to start talking about it more openly, because there's plenty of stuff that we're not allowed to talk about yet.
But it's soon. It's October, yes?
Soon. End of October, 28th of October.
Awesome. I'll pretend like it's my birthday present. That's fantastic. Yay. Nicola, thank you so much for taking time in this busy con day to talk to us at Kapow. Thanks.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, as you know, there's always so much to see at a con. There's cosplay, there's artists, there's writers, but you know, there's always one thing that kind of sticks in your mind that was the best of the con for you. So, Jill, what was that for you?
I think meeting the cosplay celebrity Yaya Han, and MacGyver is here.
It's always exciting if you know MacGyver's in the house.
MacGyver's here.
That's awesome. Al, what was your favourite?
Well, I got to say, just meeting Greg Rucka, doing that interview, I was very butterflies going in. Long-time hero of mine, loved so much of his work, so that was fantastic. But that was, you know, he was a really nice guy. But also they've got a fantastic Lego display back here. They've got the Stark Tower. They've got, you know, Captain America shield, very, very cool. Just shows you what you can do with Lego if you have too much time and Lego on your hands.
And that's true, yeah. Look, for me, it's kind of it's an odd little thing, but while I was behind the camera, while Al was luckily interviewing Greg Rucka, next to him was Nicola Scott, who a girl was showing her art portfolio to. And so Nicola was having a look through that, and the look on that girl's face while, you know, you've got this amazing artist going, this is great stuff, what else are you doing? For me, that was the best of the con, because really, that's what it's about.
And it is lovely. You get those little moments, and that's what I love seeing in these sort of environments. You see everybody's having such a good time. And I saw at one point, there was this massive Batman bending down to help a little Poison Ivy get her wig straight. Probably the most adorable thing I've ever seen. So you see little moments like that all over the place, and that's why it's such a great environment here.
The sense of community at a convention like this is insane. Like, everyone's here because they like the same thing, so they want to share it with others, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so guys, if you had a favourite thing that happened, did you see someone? Was it a strange little moment that you're like, yeah, that's cool? Let us know on YouTube, Facebook or Twitter. Huge day here at Sydney OzComicCon. Jill, did you have fun?
I had an amazing time. I got to meet so many awesome people, and I shopped myself silly.
Al?
Yeah, look, my bank balance is not thanking me right now, but other than that, had an amazing time, got some photos with some great cosplayers, met some great people, amazing day.
Yeah, it's always good fun at cons to meet the new people, catch up with old friends. Hey, if you managed to get along to Sydney OzComicCon, we would love to see anything you grabbed. Did you cosplay? Show us your photos. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Bye.